students in private universities. Government is a joke. Simon Bato Seda anasema haiwezi kabisa. Short and sweet, haiwezi kabisa. Andrew Morethi anasema hiyo funding model haiwezi. Majority of the people wanasema haiwezi. I don't know if your parent is from the government, anasema nini akiwatch show. Frank Lusaba anasema this new system haiwezi kabisa. Better the old model kutoka Kitengela. Anonymous anasema my parent earns a gross salary of 40,000, yet I'm placed in band 5. Is that really fair? Kagina with the stats. Is that really fair? Is it? He will tell us in a minute. All right, so that's the feedback for now from y'all. Linda.
Well, something that has come out so prominently today is about the equity, about how these funds are allocated to different families. And one of them just said on Majibu's side that if this is going to be implemented, then the programs, the pricing of the programs needs to be reduced, right? I don't know whether you share the same sentiment, Martin. Kwanza ulieka band gani na how do you feel about the band that you are located?
Personally, my name is Martin Matthew. I'm a Gen Z leader at Upcoming Leaders of Kenya. I'm also pursuing law at African Nazarene University. I was placed at the 5th band.
How do you feel about that?
It's not right. Personally, it's not right. Number one, I come from a private university. It is the problem of the government that placed me in this private university, and allow me to say it here clear, that KUSIPS placed me in a private university. Then, as we proceed further, they are not providing, the help is not giving me upkeep. What happened to inequality? What happened to the right to education under Article 43(1)(f) that guarantees every student or every youth the right to education, and it must be accessible to all? Yes. And
perhaps let me ask this beautiful lady right here, Imani, just share your sentiments about this particular topic today. How do you feel about this funding model, and has it affected you, or are you comfortable with the band that you are placed in?
I first want to express the fact that the basic role of any government is to provide education, health, and security. So it's very embarrassing, first, for us to start arguing about prices of education, because we are gambling with the future of the nation. We are gambling with whether or not we're going to have sufficient doctors in 20 years. We are gambling with whether or not we're going to have sufficient lawyers. We're going to have sufficient. It's embarrassing, and that's my sentiment. I'm not comfortable because my siblings and I have a gap of 2 years. So if you look at how my parents are going to provide for this with the new funding, we're 3, right? And if our courses require 400,000. Well, even if we're earning like 120,000, where is that placing us? If our income is 120,000, where is my parent getting the money to give 3 children who are having courses that require 400,000? Yes.
So it's a fundamental right. Education is a fundamental right. Perhaps we can take it from you. What do you feel about this particular funding model? And also, has it affected any of the activities that you normally undertake? Because I know it's not specifically pegged on education or learning. There's also where you stay, accommodation, and many other things.
Okay, if I start by my name is Edward Oloch. I'm from a technical college, that is Nairobi National Polytechnic, and also a founder member of Young Political Association. And I came here just to talk about this new funding model, which has really affected comrades wa Kenya. It has really affected them, and in terms of placement in bands, the MTI thing is it's not giving, and we need to just.
Why you say it's not giving, expert?
Okay, it's not giving, like how comes a person is placed in band 5 yet the salary of his parents or her parents is like 40,000. How will she or he able to raise the remaining amount to pay for the school fees? Yet maybe it's on a family of over 5. And 2 of them are maybe in a campus. So how will you be able to pay for the fee? Because they have really illustrated there that it will be the band 5 people will be paid. The scholarship fee will be almost 40% will be for fee. Yeah.
Wow,
So that one will really affect even the technical courses such as medicine, engineering. In fact, there was a time I spoke with a Form 4 leaver, and he scored a B+, and he was telling me, hey bro, how will this thing work? Because it is from now to September, you will apply for COSIPs. How will you realize that you have been placed in certain band?
Wow, good question. Good question.
How will
right
you
there.
realize?
Thank you. Thank you. I wish we had more time.
Thank
I
you.
hope we'll still get time. We'll get back to you. Ms. K, you're very close to one of the comrades right there. Perhaps you can ask that question as well.
So just picking from what he said, is it giving for you, this new funding model? Is it giving or not? Inaweza haiwezi, and what band were you placed in? And was it fair for you?
I think in the Kenyan country that we sit in right now, it is very sad that on the basis on which someone is going to pay school fees, what determines is the amount of salary that someone earns. It means that someone cannot even have a leeway with his own salary. It means that the people who are trying to work hard to ensure that at least their pay slip at least escalates or gets to somewhere, then it means that as much as we are trying to get and deduct it from school fees, we're also trying to do it in other areas. So it means that at least our parents and the big stakeholders of this country and the business people should be given the leeway with their own salaries. We should not be debating about what you earn and what you should pay. At least the basis of a school fees should just be uniform. It should not be on how you earn, on which extent you are, on where you are, because they say that education is an equalizer. But trying to figure it out specifically, then I don't think it's an equalizer. Because if you see on the way they are doing it, then I don't think it's an equalizer. If we have to pay, if you have to deduct school fees on the basis of what you earn, then I don't think. On the question of the band which I was placed, I was placed in the worst band ever.
Which is which?
That is band 5. A band that you wonder on how a comrade can be placed at band 5. And yet they have said that for you to be at band 5, then a parent must be earning more than 120,000 shillings. Now think about a parent who has 2 or 3 kids in the university. You are letting him pay 40% of his salary to school fees. Now, if you double the 2 children that are there, that is already 80% out of a salary that is over 100. So does it mean that you're going to consume 80% to school fees and then remain with 20%? Remember, you cannot have 2 children in the university and lack other children who are behind you totally. That one cannot work. You cannot also lack pending bills. You are going to work, you have to travel, you have some people you're looking at. There are others who are not your children, but you're taking care of. So I wonder on how this basis really wants to work in a country like this. So I think it's very difficult. It's a point that I think the government should solve such. And there is one student out there who said that there is no connection. And it is true, the connection is not there. Because we tend to think that public participation is only political. We are forgetting that public participation can also be engaged in sectors like education, sectors like health, sectors like agriculture. And therefore, we only think that public participation is for political processes.
Well, they called for public participation. Did you, ulituma maoni pale?
Yes, we tried hard as students because we cannot see something and then we fail at least to defend it to our best.
And what were your recommendations as we wrap up?
My recommendations were let them fix the problem of the old funding model and ensure there is a better and sustainable education system in this country.
And
Okay.
even Ms. K, before you throw it to Kagina, there's a trend here. Allow me to do this. How many are in band 5 in this particular
Setup.
panel that we have in this particular set?
I am in
Band 5? Band 5? You have a sibling in band 5. Which band are you? Which band are you, Imani? Band 4. So it's 4 and 5.
Right.
Well, I don't know what that
Question marks, question marks.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kagina with the stats, he might tell us how many people, according to the statistics of band 5, as he begins with his panel over there, Kags.
All right, I'll be introducing my panelists here. So starting from the very left, we have Danaro Michael, who is a student currently at Nazarene University, formerly a president in the same institution. So maneno ya comrades, ameelewa. They have opened up to him. Wameongea imewatoka. Sasa pia akuje aongee imtoke. And also joining me right here is Joseph Ochola. Pia yeye ako band 5, which means they, or rather the parents, or rather what is called the family, will provide 40% of what is required. He gets a loan of 30%. The government sponsorship is 30%, and he gets around 40,000 for an academic year. So today we will be just interacting with him and getting to know how sufficient, or rather how befitting is he in that band. So starting with Danaru, hii funding model inaweza haiwezi?
To be honest, this model is very, very discriminatory. This model literally violates the right to education. Someone across the audience talked about how education ought to be an equalizer for our institutions, for our people as a society. Even in schools, we learn that the essence and benefit of going to school is for you to be able to be equal as one in terms of intellectual capacity, in terms of work and agency. But this education model, this new funding model that's about to be introduced is very problematic because one, it's not inclusive. The idea that they want to provide a certain model that is able to actively accommodate everybody based on their household incomes is very ironic. I might even border on sarcasm itself, because what do you mean? Because you earn this certain amount, then you're supposed to be getting this amount for you to be able to afford to study. This impacts this pool, one, even those are the topmost band and those are the bottommost band. All around are all equally affected. The vulnerable people, the ones who cannot afford anything, you're telling them that once you're done with education, at the price of this, your whole life or half your life, you're going to be paying back this loan to us. That is very wrong. Two, you're telling those people who are considered less needy, you're claiming that just because they are less needy doesn't mean that they are financially secure. You basically point out that because they are less needy, they have the ability still. When you're less needy doesn't mean that you're financially stable. Living from paycheck to paycheck is an actual life thing that happens in our society. With the increased 18% VAT that's about to be introduced into the country, the purchasing power of households is very, very low, minimal as it is. And you're telling someone who can afford just a single bread during the day that they will not be able to get this anymore because they have to sacrifice that for this certain band because they earn something. That's very wrong.
All right, we'll be coming back to that. But Joseph, you are placed rather in band 5.
Yeah.
What band do you think you belong to?
Personally, what I know is that we should be, most of us, those who have been placed in different bands, we should be lower than the bands that we have been placed. We should be either band 2 or band 1. In conclusion, what I mean, in conclusion of my first point of statement is that band 3, 4, and 5 should not be for a Kenyan citizen child. Because as a father who is, okay, when they say that somebody who is supposed to be placed at band 5 is somebody whose parent is earning higher than anybody else. But when you come to look at this thing at economic level, somebody whose parent is earning much contributes much to the economy. And when you contribute much to the economy through taxes and whatever, you are paying tax in order to achieve government services through education, health, and even infrastructure. But what if you are going to seek for education through your child? You are sending your child to school to go and sort for his education. Then you are being told that now you are very rich. You should not get this government service at this smaller cost. Your parents should pay more. Now, when we look at it at the context of the issue of which they are saying AMT, I don't know, MIT, whatever.
Yes, means testing instrument.
Yes. Now, this one is very discriminatory. Take a look of Band 1 student at any university. You know, everybody have read about the documentation of the new funding model, and I've known that a Band 1 student is that student who is coming from a very poor background. So whenever you're working in the campus, the current WASU chairman once said that while you're working in the area in the university, every corridor, every corner, they will point out at you and say that this one is a Band 1 student. He comes from a very poor background. So even when you are doing exams, they will say this one is a poor. So it reduces because he has said that education is to make us. It's one of the factors that is making us bring about equality. But now, when you are in a university, you have already been placed into bands according to uwezo wako. The earning capacity of your parents should not define whom you are or your future. So my take on this is that the new funding model should be scrapped, and the government should not ask us anything about it, because it is not our ability to determine what the government should do. The government is a system which consists of so many technocrats, so many people who are supposed to be looking into any system that the government is going to implement. So they should not throw the ball onto us, now go tell us that let's do public participation, yet during that time that they were about to implement it, they did not call the students or the people who are being affected. Our parents were never involved in this, and told that, now we are introducing a new funding model apart from the other one that is going to replace it. Now tell us, what should we do? This is our documentation. This is how we are going to run it out. But now, they never did that. They're doing it when things have messed up. My friends, some of us who are very brilliant, those people who should be joining medicine schools, they have left school. Even people will tell you, they have left school, people have dropped, and there's no future. Yet we are the people who are being called the future of the country in terms of economy and anything else. So,
looking at you, for example, you're taking law at the University of Nairobi. Sure. The costs for the course is roughly 104,000 per year. That I assume it's for the 2 semesters.
That is according to this new funding model. Generally, totally, the course should cost 260,000 before the government joins in. But after tearing out to government contribution, family contribution, you're supposed to, according to the new funding model, Band 5, like me, is supposed to be paying a total of 104,000 per year.
So the 40% is the 104,000 per year.
Sure.
And the 40,000 that you get in form of a stipend, does it cater for you personally?
Okay, 40,000, it means the whole year. The whole year we have 2 semesters. It has been divided. The year has been whole academic year is divided into 2. You have semester 1 and semester 2. Every semester, that 40,000 is divided into 2. Every semester you should receive 20,000. But long time ago, even in the earlier funding model, the other one, the latter funding model, you could see students education could have been free, because you could take part of your help could cater. Even the whole help could cater for your fees. But for this case, for example, the one in Band 5, if you use your help now, let me say that now let me try to use my help to cater for my fees. 20,000 per semester, you're supposed to pay 54K. 52,000 per semester as fees. But you're receiving 20,000 as an upkeep. So that means that upkeep does not help at all.
In terms of should you use it as school fees, it cannot suffice.
Cannot cut. You are going to use it, and you're still going to remain with the negative deviation of 32,000.
All right, Danaro, you've had his experience right here. Does this reflect what is happening with other comrades as well from that end?
You see, out here, ask any comrade out here, they'll tell you the narrative of Queen Ama. Watakuambia vile every day they'll have to actually skip a meal, which is now considered a norm. For it to reach a point where your son or daughter is in school and they have to consider it a ritual for them to skip a meal, not because they can, but because choices, circumstances literally limit them, means that things are already dire as it is. And for them to introduce this funding model and tell us that, one, if in this certain band you're supposed to be paying this amount. This band, this model actively targets the students. The former band, money was deposited into the universities. The former band was university-based actively.
Yes.
This band is student-based. Therefore, meaning the money doesn't even go to the universities anymore, it goes to the students. As a student, if you're misplaced in a different band that is not akin to your own merit or capacity, it means that you're not going to be able to go to school. Because if you go to school, the first thing they'll ask is, where is the money? Remember, it's no longer university-based. So even the funding for the universities is slashed. As it is, we have myriads of universities that are still ongoing strikes. Tuke is here, Egerton is here. With this current band that we have, with the current model that we have, they still have these strikes. Now you're telling me that you're telling students who might not even continue in school to go to these schools that are expecting money from these students to pay these lecturers. You're putting a whole cycle of problems among various parastatals and institutions and people in one class. Very wrong, because now you're telling this university, if you don't have money, we can't help you unless those students give you the money. You're telling these students, if you don't have money, you're not going to study either way. You need to have that money. Very wrong, as you said. Secondly, and as I conclude, this band literally says that even those who are continuing, if you apply to it, you're literally going to be dropping out of school in the due course. Why? Because as it is as a country, nothing is guaranteed economically. Tomorrow someone might lose a job. Tomorrow someone will be laid off. We've heard apparently how many companies this year alone as it stands are laying off workers. Now, for someone who's in band 5, their parent tells them, I can't pay for your school fees this year. What are you telling them? This band, as it is very elitist, very segregational, and very discriminatory.
There's something that you've mentioned, which Joseph had earlier mentioned, in terms of, placement in the bands is bringing classism, where, band 5, like Joseph right here, feels a bit privileged compared to those in band 1. Is it something that you can actually see, or is it an assumption that people are making?
It is something that I can see. It's not an assumption. None of these words that are being presented here are assumptions as it is. These are things that people are actively seeing change and alter the impact of when they're supposed to graduate. As you can see, the people who are graduating this year are the most problematic people in the education system, because you can see how they suffered literally when they're entering university, even when they're transitioning into high school. And now you're telling them that if you can't afford this amount of money, you'll be able to graduate. And the people behind them as well, you're telling them that as well. This whole model actively tells you that if you're in band 5, if you have the capacity to actually pay for this, it means that you are very rich, you are okay, it doesn't affect you. This narrative that perpetrates is down the top class, the elitist, the first class people are not in any way supposed to be bothered by the problems down here. Secondly, and most importantly, those who cannot afford this in this 5th band are now being told that if you cannot stick in this class of people that we have here as a top echelon, then drop away, go away. That's what they're telling you.
All right. The court gave 14 days for the ministry and the Attorney General to provide a leeway, or rather a clear way for how someone can appeal. For a yes or no answer, Joseph, have you made an attempt to appeal?
Yes, sure.
Have you gotten a response, yes or no?
No.
All right. We are going for a short commercial break right here, but this conversation on the new university funding model continues right here on the Gen Z Manifesto.
Yes, vuka na cash box na best now mitabone ya kama TV mudhagina wa